Hi, today we're going to look at operations with complex numbers using addition, subtraction, and multiplication. Complex number is a combination of a real number and an imaginary number. And a lot of times you're going to see this form a plus bi. A is the real portion, bi is the imaginary portion of the problem. And it's complex because we have multiple different things going on. The real part dealing with threes and negative twos, the imaginary dealing with the i's. So somehow we're going to combine them together. Okay, so starting with adding and subtracting. Basically, we're just going with the same rules that we learned with polynomials and combining like terms. You're going to combine like pieces. So here I have a -1 and I want to add a -2, -1 and -2, giving us -3. So we used it. And then you're saying 5 plus a -3 or 5 minus 3. We're talking about 2. What? 2 i's. So that I is coming along. So here we're only combining like terms. You only can combine an I with an I squared with I squared, and so on. All right, subtraction. The only difference here is we need to make sure that this negative, we make a pit stop here, and it goes to each one of these terms. So we're kind of like distributing it. You could rewrite it and say, -1 minus 2i. Let's try that. 7. So we want to combine a 7 and a -1, giving us 6. I want to combine 4 and a -2, giving us 2i. So that's with distributing that I and coming up with new numbers. What if I don't distribute that I, or don't distribute the negative? Well, we just got to make sure we make a stop there. So 11 minus 2, giving us 9. -8 minus -8. So remember, negative negative turns to a positive, so we're going to say -8i minus minus, which is positive 8i. Those guys cancel out. Why? Because one's positive, one's negative, and you're left with just 9. Okay, multiplication doesn't have to be doesn't have to be any more complicated. If you know how to multiply two binomials, if you know how to multiply polynomials together, you know how to do this already. So let's do those same rules. Let's distribute. We're going to distribute 3 to both of those. So 3 times -2, giving us -6. 3 times 4i, giving us 12i. Distribute 2i, and we get -4i. And here's where things get wacky. 4 times 2 is 8. I times I, we're now going to get I squared. Now let's put together and combine and change everything that we can do. 12 minus 4, they both have i's. So you're going to come up with 8i there. Bring down that -6. Plus 8 times I squared. I don't like that. I can simplify it. I can simplify I squared to a -1. So whenever you see I squared, put a -1 in place. This now turns to -8. Let's do one more combination. We're going to say -6 minus 8, giving us -14 plus 8i. And when you're dealing with complex numbers, again, real and imaginary, you want to make sure that you have the real portion in front and then the imaginary portion at the end. All right, one more. So distribute. We're going to distribute -6 this time. -6 and 3, giving us -18. -6 and -3, giving us positive 18i. Now we're going to distribute -i to give us -3i. Distribute one more time, positive 3i squared. 18 minus 3 gives us 15i. -18 can come down. Whenever we see I squared, we're going to change that to a -1, like what we have up here. 3 times -1 is going to give us a -3. So now I want to combine negative 18 and negative 3 to give us negative 21 plus 15i. As you go through these, as you combine, it's okay to cross things out. You're going to be making a big mess with everything here. So make it simpler and get rid of things when we don't need them or after they're used. And ladies and gentlemen, that is complex numbers with adding, subtracting, and multiplying.